More round of questions before we break for the Prime Minister. So I'm going to recognize the gentleman from North Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think people go into investigative reporting to get rich. I think it's an incredibly important service that was just pointed, but I just want to react a little bit. I don't think being held in contempt, either civilly or criminally, is either A, conspiracy theory, or B, part of an employment dispute. You're either going to be civilly held in contempt and fined until you disclose your source, or worse yet, you're going to be put in an 8x10 with bars on the window. That's what contempt means, for not disclosing a source. So if there's a more chilling effect on the right of the free press and right for North Dakota citizens to be informed about what's going on, I'd like to know it. I mean, Ms. Harridge, you've been held in contempt. Do you feel like that's part of an employment dispute?
I want to have complete respect for the legal process. My case is being litigated, but no, these are separate matters, Congressman.
You know, I'm hopeful soon that the Senate will take up the PRESS Act and add a federal shield law for reporters being compelled to reveal confidential sources. Ms. Attkisson, I am under the impression that reporters in most states have shield law protection, but federal judges and courts are not bound by the same laws?
I'm terribly sorry, I'm not familiar with the status of the states versus.
Well, I know in North Dakota we have a shield law, and in a lot of different states they do. So, in 2011, you reported on the Obama, and I want to back up just a sec. We act like this is new stuff, but this has been going on for a long time. I mean, we've had a lot of talks about DOJ and Twitter and Section 230 and liability and immunity and all of those things. But in 2011, you reported on the Obama administration's Operation Fast and Furious operation, in which ATF purposely allowed licensed firearm dealers to sell weapons to illegal straw bars. Were confidential sources and information critical to informing the public about that scandal?
Yes.
Would you have been able to shed light on the federal government selling weapons, including grenade launchers and anti-aircraft weapons, to the Mexican drug cartels without guaranteeing confidentiality of your sources?
It would have been tough. There would have been something to report, but not what we ended up reporting.
And when you were reporting on the security lapses in the 2012 Benghazi embassy attack, do you think you would have been able to shed light on the federal government's failure to maintain embassy security without guaranteeing confidentiality of your sources?
Some of it, yes, but some of it, no.
Do you, like me, believe it's important for the American people to be informed of these things along with waste, fraud, and abuse by the federal government, and we should do what we can to ensure robust media scrutiny of those government officials?
Yes.
Even if that includes members of Congress?
Right.
Does the status quo where sources need to depend on a reporter and their outlet's financial tolerance or physical tolerance for contempt punishment equate to a functional, sensible system?
No, and one quick example, a lot of times a source will end up going on the record, which is preferable, but you can't begin the conversation many times if you can't start out by telling him as you begin to talk that he's not going to be identified yet.
Does the current system have a chilling effect on potential confidential sources and whistleblowers?
Yes.
If we pass the PRESS Act, you talked a little bit about the PRESS Act and where you think it's deficient and whatever, but you agree it would be helpful at least.
It seems like it would be helpful.
You know, in the last minute and 30 seconds, I think we can deal with this. I think there's certain things that we have to recognize. I'm a former criminal defense attorney. Confidentiality with my clients is absolutely essential in order to deal with those things. And I think there are a lot of different similarities, but you have to be as mentally tough as anybody to be an investigative reporter. And we're sitting here right now talking about these things. At the same time, we got a letter from the DOJ saying that they can't release an audio tape after they've already given us the transcript from a computer where it was tried to be erased but only found later, because it would have a chilling effect on potential witnesses coming forward to talk about a crime. That's what the letter said. And at the same time, we have a DOJ going to investigative reporters saying, I know you guaranteed these people confidentiality to report against their government doing something bad against the US citizens, but I am going to force you to expose that, or I'm going to hold you in civil contempt, criminal contempt, or all of those things. Does that seem a little bit hypocritical to you, Ms. Attkisson?
There are many things that seem to be double standard-ish, one way for them and another way for us.
I mean, they're literally saying we can't release something because otherwise we won't ever be able to investigate anything again, which, by the way, is patently false. But also at the same time, when they don't like something any of you all are writing, right, left, center, conservative, liberal, they say, I want to know who your source is.
I get it.
I do too, and I think it's very, very unfortunate. And with that, I yield back.
I'll now recognize my colleague,